Good morning, dear students. Now, today we are going to start the third lesson of chemistry, that is atoms and molecules. Students, before it, two lessons of chemistry we have completed, that is matter around a sphere and matter in our surrounding. So now we will go little ahead. In detail we are going to see about this lesson, that is atoms and molecules. So students, you are knowing all the matters are made up of atoms and molecules. In the first two chapters we had a lot discussion on the atoms and the molecule. So here, first of all, atoms and molecules, we are going to start this lesson with the meaning of atoms and molecules. What is mean by atom and what is mean by molecule? Actually this I have already told you in lesson number 1 or lesson number 2. In both the lessons I have a little bit give you acquisition of this atoms and molecule. So here I would like to just revise you about atoms and the molecules. See, here we can take example of hydrogen. We write hydrogen like this. But if you will talk about the atom of hydrogen, then we simply write like this, hydrogen atom. We don't write means hydrogen simply. If it is single, then it is hydrogen. If you will talk about O2, then we write oxygen. Okay. If you will write about carbon, then we write carbon. So this is what? Hydrogen, oxygen and carbon. While writing, always we write H2. What is the reason behind that? We will see very soon in this lesson only, because here in this lesson we are going to have a deep discussion on it, why we write H2, O2 or any other thing. O2, H2, S2, why do we write that, we are going to see. So H2, but the smallest, if we will take one hydrogen, then it will be like this. Means if you will take hydrogen gas, if you will take any hydrogen gas, then all over the hydrogen gas, that all over, suppose if in this container there is a hydrogen gas, okay, if suppose in this container there is a hydrogen gas, then this hydrogen gas is made up of small particles of what? Of hydrogen, right? Of hydrogen. Means what? The smallest entity of any element is called as atom. Okay, so now here what we have taken, hydrogen as a element. Here what we have taken, oxygen as a element. Hydrogen and oxygen are elements which are non-metal. In my last lessons video I had explained you, and I have bifurcated the atoms and I have bifurcated the metals and the non-metals. These are examples. All this hydrogen, oxygen and carbon, these all are the examples of the non-metal. So if you will talk about magnesium ribbon, okay, magnesium ribbon is quite acquainted with you. This is the magnesium ribbon we can talk about. Magnesium ribbon, which is made up of magnesium metal, okay. And if you will go in deep, if we will go in detail about it, if we will go for the smallest particle of this whole magnesium metal ribbon, then we will see this magnesium ribbon is made up of very small particle. What are those? That is called as an atom, okay, which will possess exactly the properties of all this sheet. If suppose this is the sheet of magnesium, and this is the smallest particle, that is called as an atom, then this magnesium whole sheet and this atom will possess the similar properties. Understood? Means a single atom will be equal to the whole magnesium ribbon. So only it is said that the smallest entity of any element is called as a atom. Okay, do you understand, students? Magnesium ribbon we can see. We can take any other example. If there is a container which is filled with the oxygen, O2 gas. But if we will talk about its single particle, then that single particle is said to be atom. Do you get it? So I hope you understand the concept of atom. Okay, so now what is it? This is the concept of atom. The smallest entity of any element is called as a atom. Now what is meant by molecule? What is meant by molecule? We can take the example of The smallest. So first of all, I would like to explain you the definition. The smallest, here we have seen the smallest entity of any element is called as atom. So here we will talk the smallest entity of any compound. Okay, of any compound is what? Is molecule. Students, just now I had explained you the difference between mixture and the compound. How does the compound has formed, that we have seen just now. So the smallest entity of any compound is called its molecule. Again, I would like to take example of here. Here is the one container, which is glass beaker, I can say. And this glass beaker is composed, or it is filled with the water molecule. Okay, this is filled with the water molecule, or this is filled with the, we can say this is composed of, this whole container is filled with a compound called what? Water. Water is called hydrogen dioxide. It's name of it. Water is what? Hydrogen, dihydrogen oxide. It's a chemical name of the water. Dihydrogen oxide. Okay. And this is water is what? Tasteless, colorless and odorless liquid. So this complete glass is filled with the water. If we will bifurcate, if we will try to see the smallest particle of this whole water, then we will see the molecule water. Understood? Suppose here can be a various molecules of the water. But if we will talk about a single particle of this whole compound, then that will be water molecule only. Okay, so we can say here the smallest entity of any compound is molecule. Okay, suppose this glass is filled with the water, so we have said this is made up of water, or its formula is H2O. Suppose we will take any compound which is filled with the CO2, then lot amount of CO2 will be there, but its smallest entity of this whole compound will be CO2, that is molecule. Suppose we can take here oxygen. Suppose we will take here oxygen. Then O2 is also a molecule, right? Here it is not composed of two elements. There carbon is one element and oxygen is different element. So it is composed. This compound is composed of two different elements. While this molecule is composed of, or this is also compound, this is made up of only one element, that is oxygen. Or water, we can take example. Water is also composed of two different elements, that is hydrogen and oxygen. So the smallest entity of any compound is molecule, and the smallest entity of any element is called as a atom. So do you understand, students? This is the concept of atoms and molecules. So here, students, you come to know the difference between the atoms and the molecules. Our ancient Indian and Greek philosophers have always wondered about the unknown and unseen forms of the matter. Okay, and the idea of divisibility of the matter was considered long back in India around 500 BC. An Indian philosopher, Maharshi Kanad, students, you are knowing it is called as a Maharishi or Maharshi Kanad, had said that these atoms and the molecules are indivisible. Okay, till 18th century, it was considered that atom and molecule is indivisible. But later on it come to know that no, still atom and molecules are divisible particle, because we are knowing atom is composed of protons, electrons and neutrons. Very soon in further fourth topic we are going to learn about its smallest particle, how the atom is composed of. Very soon in fourth and even in this third chapter also we are going to learn what is atom. So here we should know, before in our ancient India and in some Greek philosophers also said that atom is an indivisible particle. There will be no divisibility of the atom. Understood, students? But later on what happens, in after 18th century, again the discovery was going on ahead, and various scientists were working on it, various chemists, various physicists were working on it, and they come to know that atom is composed of three particles, that is proton, electron and the neutron, right? Neutron and the protons and the neutrons are always into the nucleus, and electrons are always revolving around it. Later on it come to know, but till that it was considered to be atom is a indivisible particle. Okay, so this is the first whatever it is given in your page number 31. It is given in the first paragraph like that only, that our Indian Maharshi Kanad also said, and some Greek philosophers also said that atom is an indivisible particle, but later on it come to know that no, it is still divisible particle. So we are going to talk about here now some chemical combinations. Students, you are knowing ki chemical combination, what is meant by chemically combine? Whenever any thing is chemically combined together with each other, that is called as a chemical reaction. In last lesson only I said you, when two elements chemically combine with each other, then that is called as a chemical reaction. We have said about chemical change too, right? Two different chemical is formed. Okay, in chemical reaction, when reactant and product, when reactant reacts with each other, when reactants react with each other, the different product is formed, okay, which does not possess the properties of the reactant, that we have seen, and that is called as a chemical reaction. So exactly what happens into the chemical reaction, or what happens into the chemical change, there are few laws which are possesses into the chemical reaction, or which can give an idea about the chemical reaction, exactly what happens into the chemical reaction when two compounds, two elements combine with each other. So there are three laws here in your book. Only two laws are given, but there is third one law which is also I am going to discuss with you. Okay, so we will talk about first law of the chemical reaction or chemical combination. Okay, so here students, we are going to talk about in any chemical reaction. Okay, whenever any chemical reaction is taking place, means two chemicals combine with each other, at that time exactly what happens and by which law this chemical reaction is represented, that we are going to talk. Listen it very carefully, which is really very simple. While reading textbook, you may feel that it is difficult, but if you will listen to this my lecture, video lecture, it will be really very easy. So observe this chemical reactions or the laws of the chemical combination. Chemical combination means what? Chemical reactions. So it will be it is going to be really very easy. Just observe it very carefully. You will never forget throughout your life. So there is one first law that is called as a law of conservation of mass. Okay. So conservation of mass means what? Students, till now you are knowing, just now you have learned I think energy chapter. In that it was given energy can neither be created nor be destroyed. Right? Energy can nor be created nor be destroyed. The energy remains constant. So I feel you are knowing about the law of energy, law of conservation of energy. So the same law is followed into the chemical reaction too. So what is that? Law of conservation of mass. What is that? And it was, this law of conservation of mass was given or was introduced by Anton L. Lavoisier. Understood? He is the founder of this law. Anton Lavoisier has actually given both the laws. Another law is also there. That law is also given by this. But Anton Lavoisier has specifically given this law of conservation of mass. What he said in it? See here, he said that during any physical or chemical change, the total mass of the product is equal to the total mass of the reactant. Means what? Mass can neither be created nor be destroyed in a chemical reaction. It is quite true, because suppose if there is a water, there is a formation of water, and we have taken hydrogen 5 gram and oxygen 2 gram. Then whatever the water is going to be formed, that is going to be formed 7 gram. Because mass can neither be created nor be destroyed. Whenever the water molecule is going to be formed from hydrogen and oxygen, if hydrogen is 5 gram and oxygen is 2 gram, then whenever it will combine together, it is going to be form a 7 gram. Isn't it? So in a chemical reaction, what is going to be formed? In chemical reaction, the total mass of the product. So suppose here we can take any example, other example also. Say this is calcium carbonate. This is the formula of calcium carbonate. How to form the formula we are going to learn in this lesson. Okay, calcium carbonate. It's a compound, that is calcium carbonate, and this is the compound, that is calcium oxide and carbon dioxide. Okay, here you can see, here I have written here one triangle. This triangle represents the symbol of heat. Means what? If I will give the heat, or if I am going to do this in a chemical laboratory, and if I will provide, which is in the solid form, students, and this calcium carbonate is always white solid powder. Okay, so whenever calcium carbonate heat will be given for this calcium carbonate powder, which is 10 gram, then what will happen? We will get a calcium oxide, and that calcium oxide also will be in the solid form. And what will happen during this chemical reaction? Because this is what? Reactant. Understood? This is called as a reactant, and this is called as a product. Understood? At the left hand side there is a reactant, at the left hand side there is a reactant, and at the right hand side there is a product. So this is reactant, and when this reactant is heated, this is actually decomposition reaction, students. Whenever you will go in class 10, you will learn this is called as a thermal decomposition reaction. Okay, so in this thermal decomposition reaction, if you will talk, then what will happen? If you will provide the heat for this calcium carbonate, then calcium oxide we will get, which is in the solid form, and carbon dioxide will get released. So it is shown by the arrow which is pointing upward, because gas is a little bit denser, and so it goes up all the time. Gas is never settled down. Understood? So it is showing by the carbon dioxide, which is pointing its arrow in a upside. Okay, so if suppose this calcium carbonate I have taken, whenever I had taken, it was 10 gram. Okay, and when I provided heat, that time calcium oxide I got 4.4 gram. Okay, now how much X will be? Means how much carbon dioxide will get formed in this chemical reaction or in this chemical combination. Suppose this is X, then X is equal to what? 10 gram minus 4.4 gram. How much it will come? I think 5.6 gram. So X will be 5.6 gram. So if we will see, this is 10 gram, and if we will combine this 4.4 and 5.6, it is also going to be 10 gram. Means what? In any chemical change, the total mass of the product is equal to the total mass of the reactant, because at the reactant side it is 10 gram, at the product side also it is 10 gram. Means what? Mass can neither be created nor be destroyed in a chemical reaction. Whatever the reactant we will take, that much only product we are going to get. Product will not be less or not be more. Okay, so reactant and product mass will be exactly equal. That's it. And this law is given by Anton L. Lavoisier. It was his idea. Understood, students? So you have to keep in mind the statement that mass can neither be created nor be destroyed in a chemical reaction, and during any physical or chemical change, the total mass of the product is equal to the total mass of the reactant. Here I would like to give another example for you. This is magnesium ribbon. Just now I gave example magnesium ribbon, which is in the solid form, which is 10 gram, and this is oxygen, which is 80 gram, and now we are going to get, that is MgO. MgO means what? Magnesium oxide. When this magnesium will get burned in presence of oxygen, we are going to get magnesium oxide. How much it will be? Obviously 90 gram. 10 gram plus 80 gram, 90 gram. This is reactant and this is product. So mass of the reactant equal to mass of the product. So it's so easy to understand. That is law of chemical combination. First law, that is law of conservation of mass. Okay, so now we will go for the second law. Okay, now we will go for the second law of the chemical reaction or the chemical combination. when two chemicals combine with each other, or one chemical when decomposed, that is also chemical reaction. So we are going to talk about the second law of chemical combination or chemical reaction, which was given by the John Proust. Okay, this law was given by the John Proust. In your book there is a reference of it, you can go for it, which was also a chemist. Its name was a John Proust. What's his law? Law of constant proportion. It is also called as a law of definite proportion. Okay, law of constant proportion and law of definite proportion. By the name also you can understood. So we will see the first statement. A pure chemical compound always consists of the same elements that are combined in a fixed ratio by mass. Okay, it is in a fixed ratio by mass, means a pure chemical compound always consists of the same elements are combined in a fixed ratio by mass. Here it will be more clearer for you, means in a chemical substance the elements, in simpler words I can say you, in a chemical substance or in a chemical reaction, the elements are always present in a definite proportion. Okay, in a definite proportion only these are present, and so only this law is called as the law of constant proportion or law of definite proportion, which was given by the John Proust. So whenever I will give an example for you, it will be more clearer. See students, this is the example of the water, right? This is the water molecule. Okay, water molecules name, chemical name is what? Dihydrogen oxide. Just now I said you. So here it is made up of hydrogen and oxygen. Okay, so this hydrogen has atomic mass number 1. How much? Its atomic mass number. Atomic mass number of hydrogen is always 1. Its design I have not recognized. I am not scientist. So it is given that hydrogen has atomic mass number 1. So that is 1. Okay, and this hydrogen is multiplied by 2. So it will be 1 into 2 equal to 2, right? 2. And oxygen has atomic mass number 16. Oxygen has atomic mass number 16. In your textbook it is given. Atomic mass number of particular elements are given in your book. You can go and see there. You will come to know atomic number of hydrogen is 1. But here number is 2. So 1 into 2 is 2. And atomic mass number of oxygen is 16. So 2 as to 16. If we will divide them, then we will get 1 as to 8. Do you understand students? Means water molecule, any gram of water molecule, 20 gram of water molecule, 50 gram of water molecule, its smallest entity of this water molecule will be always 1 as to 8. See here it will be more clearer for you if I would give example. See 5 molecules of water. Okay, hydrogen we have said, I have said you hydrogen has atomic mass number 1. Understood? So 1 into 2, 2. And how many hydrogen are there? 5. So 5 into 2, how many? 10. Okay, 10 hydrogen. Okay, and how many oxygen now? Oxygen 16. 16 5s are 80. Right? 16 5s are 80. Means 10 plus 80 if we will divide, 10 as to 80 if we will see, and its smallest entity will be 1 as to 8. So however molecules of the water we will take, the smallest entity is going to come as 1 as to 8. And that is called as a law of definite proportion. Means a pure chemical compound, say water, always consists of the same elements, that is hydrogen and oxygen, that are combined in a fixed ratio, that is 1 as to 8. Okay, here I would like to give another example for you. H2O2 hydrogen, now here 1 into 2, 2, right? Oxygen, how many are here? Oxygens are how many? 16 into 2. 16 into 2, 32. So 2 as to 32. And if you will talk about the smallest entity, then 1 as to 16. So H2O2 is called as a hydrogen peroxide. This is called as a hydrogen peroxide. This is not water. This is another compound which composed of the same atoms, that is hydrogen and oxygen is in the hydrogen peroxide, and hydrogen and oxygen into the water molecule too. So hydrogen and peroxide, if you will try to find out, then hydrogen has atomic mass number what? That is 1, 1 into 2, 2, and oxygen has atomic mass number 16, 16 into 2, 32. So it will be 2s2, 32, and the smallest entity will be 1s2, 16. So it is also present in this compound in a definite proportion. So only this law is called as the law of constant proportion, which is discovered by John Proust. So in a chemical substance, the elements are always present in a definite proportion. Now we'll go for the third law of chemical combination. Now let us have a look on the third law, which is not properly given in your textbook. Understood, students? It is not properly given. That is law of multiple proportion. It is given by John Dalton. That I have made it simpler for you, and I have kept it in front of you. You read the textbook, that is also given, but here in the simpler word I have given you. Okay. So when two elements, so this is the third law, that is when two elements combine with each other, when two elements combine with each other to form more than two compounds, masses of one of the element that combine with the fixed mass of the other bear a simple whole number by ratio to each other. So now this is the statement. You have to recite. There is no option to recite this statement, but this statement you will understand when I will give an example for you. So here I am going to present in front of you one example. Before going ahead, I would like to repeat the law again. So when two elements combine with each other to form more than two compounds, okay, masses of one of the element that combine with the fixed mass of the other bear a simple whole number by ratio to each other. Okay, this is the statement. You have to keep in mind. You have to write as it is. If it is asked in the exam, there is no option. Now you will come to know by the simple example. Suppose see, this is CO. CO means what? Carbon monoxide. Monoxide, why it is given? Because oxygen is only one. So it is called as a carbon monoxide. Okay. And this is called as a carbon dioxide. Why di? Because two molecules of oxygen are there. Okay. So this is carbon monoxide and this is carbon dioxide. And this compound are of carbon. Okay. These two compounds are of carbon. So here only first statement. When two elements combine with each other. These are the two elements, right? These two elements combine with each other to form a more than two compounds. Okay. These are two elements. Carbon combining with oxygen and carbon is combined with another oxygen. But here the number of oxygen is 1 and here is the number of oxygen is 2. If the number of oxygen is 1, then it is called as a carbon monoxide. If the number of oxygen is 2, then it is called as a carbon dioxide. Okay. Now, as I said you, hydrogen has a atomic mass number 1, oxygen has a atomic mass number 16. At the same time, carbon has atomic mass number 12, which is fixed. 12. Okay, carbon has atomic mass number 12. So 12 gram of carbon when react with 16 gram of oxygen, carbon monoxide is formed. Okay, and when 12 gram of carbon when reacts with 32 why? Because oxygen 16 into 2, 16 into 2 what? 32. So when carbon 12 gram of carbon react with 16 gram of oxygen, it forms carbon monoxide, and when 12 gram of carbon when reacts with 32 gram of oxygen, it forms a CO2. Now what is in that? If you will go closer to it, then the first entity, if you will see this 12 and 16, okay, 3 4s are 12 and 3 4s are 12 and 4 3s are 12, sorry, 4 3s are 12 and 4 4s are 16. Okay, if you will go for the smallest entity of the CO, then 4 3s are 12 because these are coming in the fourth table, right? So 4 3s are 12 and 4 4s are 16. Okay, and if you will talk about carbon dioxide, then 12:32. Then it will be how? 4 3s are 12 and 4 8s are 32. 4 8s are 32. So means first number of carbon number is common, that is 3. But the second number, that is 4 and 8, if we will try to divide 4 and 8, then it will always be whole number. 1/2. It will always be 1/2 or 2/4 or 8/4, like that it will be. It will never be 1.5 upon 2. It will never be incomplete number. It will be always whole number. So only it is given fixed mass of the other bear a simple whole number by ratio to each other. When it will, there will be ratio to each other, means 4 and 8 if you will have a ratio, then it will always be whole number. Okay, with another example I would like to explain you. Just now we have seen 2 gram of hydrogen when it will combine with the 16 gram of oxygen, and 2 gram of hydrogen when it will combine with the 32 gram of oxygen, then 2 will be common here. 2 will be common, and 16/32 if we will take, then how it will come? 1:16. Understood? So what is it? This is what? 2:32 means 8 to the okay, 8 to the. So if we will go for it, then we will get 1:8 for it. Okay, 1:2 for it. Means always it will be whole number. So this is all about law of multiple proportion, which is given by John Dalton. So I hope you understand all these 3 laws. In our next topic we will learn about what is atom, and the further topic we will learn in the other class. And students, if you have any difficulty related to this video, then you can ask me after watching it. Thank you. And comment me. You please comment me. You please reply me. Do you understand or not? That I should know actually whether you have understood this or not. So please read the topic from the lesson, and after it try to understand. And if you don't understand, please ask me. I'm waiting for your kind reply. Thank you very much.